All right. This is the big 40 episodes. Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. It is the 40th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I am your recovering host, Aaron, and allow me to run my mouth for a little bit. I don't know if it's super obvious by the sound of my voice, but I have been sick for like the past 2 weeks. I've been mostly recovering this last week, and I think I'm finally on like the tail end of whatever it is that I had. I did give myself a COVID test. It wasn't COVID. I don't know what it was. It wasn't the flu. I don't think I've ever had the flu before, but from, what I remember of, people talking about having the flu, is that it legitimately knocks you out for like a couple of days. And I was still like upright and going. I don't know. Maybe I'm built different. That's a possibility. But I don't think it was the flu. It wasn't COVID. Was it RSV? Who knows? Apparently, RSV is only serious if you're like an infant. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I haven't been an infant for about 24 years. So, I don't think I was at much risk for that doing any harm to me. So I don't know what I was sick with. It was really weird because it wasn't like any cold that I've ever had. Because usually with a cold, I'll get like a scratchy throat, and I don't really get sick all that often. So I don't know, maybe the way I get sick has just evolved now that I'm old. But usually it starts with like a scratchy throat, and then, I'll be all stuffy up here, and then maybe I'll have like a little cough. But it started with like this weird, like dry cough, and I was just coughing a lot and like really hard to the point where like I would cough and I would start seeing like stars in my eyes. Like that's how hard I was coughing. Um, and then eventually I got like congested and stuff like that, and that lasted for maybe like 4 or 5 days. But yeah, it was very odd McStrange, I'll say that much. But I think I am finally at the tail end of it. I hope. I mean, it would be really weird if I'm like, oh, I'm better now, and then it just like ramps back up. That would be kind of lame, actually. Then that would be cause for concern, I think. I don't know why I can never get mic placement down, but whatever. So yeah, I was sick for about a week. In fact, I don't know if you can really tell, but the last episode that I recorded, that was like the first day that I started feeling kind of off. I hadn't started coughing yet, but something was just strange. Something was amiss within the ecosystem. And I felt like maybe it might be a little bit noticeable, but I also don't know. So that's when it kind of started. And then all of that week, because I record these episodes on Sunday, all of that week, I was just like not feeling great, not sleeping great, not doing great at work. And so it was just all around like not great that week. That next week, it was like marginally better. I mean, now that that week has concluded, I mean, I guess it was better, but now I think I'm feeling better. All that to say, all that rambling to say, I was sick, and now I'm still, phlegmy. I got too much mucus, but aside from that, I feel mostly okay. But let me tell you, it did suck, especially considering, I had to work throughout all of that. So, it's the old capitalism. I feel like, if I was just able to like chill for a couple days, I might have gotten better a little bit quicker, because not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before last, I had like an all day shoot situation where I had to go to like a bunch of different locations, and I wasn't shooting stuff. I was mostly there for like help, but I was still hauling around equipment. And just when I got home that day, the only thing I could do was just like eat food and like lay down, because that's how tired I was. And when I laid down, the moment I laid down, my entire body just got hot. Like I had a fever. It wasn't great. I'll tell you that much. Sleeping when you're sick, or attempting to sleep when you're sick, also not easy. Got barely any sleep that week. And that was just all around not great. And also, because I was sick, I missed like two shows that I was really looking forward to. The first one being Critter Critter's final show for now. That happened, I forgot what date that was going to be on, but that happened while I was sick, and I was like, ooh, I don't feel great. I don't want to like, germ up the place. So I mean, I gotta sit this one out. I wasn't very happy about it, but Eddie's wet Eddie's. And then the next one was a show that I had booked. It was on the 19th. It was Family Dog, Dad with Nature, and Eyes Like Yours at Howlin' Mouths. And from what I saw online, it looked like it was a lot of fun. Wish I could have been there. And thankfully, though, Howlin' Mouths has like venue staff that can handle things so that I didn't really have to be there. But I was bummed about missing that. So, what can you do when you're sick other than rest? Which is what I did on those nights, because I don't think staying out pretty late was going to help in my recovery process. So that's, yeah, the only thing I got down with was the sickness. That's Disturbed, right? Yeah, as the Disturbed song goes. So there are a number of shows coming up, though, as there are in the city of Jackson. The next one that I have booked coming up is on Valentine's Day. That one's going to be a lot of fun because the band Dead Register is coming back along with another Atlanta band called Insomniac, and they're going to be supported by, let me think, I think it's Dad with Nature again, and Beneath the Kudzu, who is a really good doom sludgy type band from Vicksburg, and I'm very excited about that one, especially since that one's been in the works for a while. So that's what I have coming up on Valentine's Day. Going to a metal show because I was gonna say I have nothing better to do, but that's not. I mean, it's not like I have any dates or anything like that. So, I guess in that context, no, I don't have anything better to do. But it is kind of a vibe. I'm hoping that the girlies will turn up in their red and their pink and their white. And honestly, that would be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the Sunflower Oven, and I don't know if they're going to like decorate for Valentine's Day or anything like that. But that would honestly be like so much fun. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, anyways, that's my next show that I have booked coming up. There's like a bunch of other ones that other people have booked that are coming up, but they are not at the front of my mind at this moment. So yeah, unfortunately, I have very little music news. I do have something. So as you may or may not know, I have become, since around 2021, I would say, a really big fan of the, post-hardcore band Eidola. And they have finally released the second half to their finale two-parter album, Mend. That came out, was it last Friday? Not this Friday that just happened, but the Friday before that. It came out recently. I feel like my brain is fried from being sick. But anyways, that album came out. And, I listened to it. I gave it the old college try. And, okay, so before I say this, I will say, yes, I knew that Mend was going to be very different from Eviscerate, which was like my album of the year last year. It beat out Cure to be album of the year for me personally last year, 2024. So, I know that, okay, Eviscerate is like the more aggressive part to this two-parter, and then Mend is kind of like the, less aggressive part of this two-parter, and I knew that going in, but I feel like I was, I don't know, not tricked. I don't think that's the correct word to say, but, the first single that they put out for Mend, the Faustian Spirit, that's like, a more, I guess, typical Eidola track, or more in line with Eviscerate anyways. And so I was like, I was playing that a lot. It didn't show up in my Spotify Wrapped because Spotify doesn't actually take it from the calendar year. I don't know where they get I forgot what the range is, but it's like not even the full year that goes into your Spotify Wrapped. But I use this app called stats.fm, and it basically, you upload your listening data to it. And I actually paid for the premium version of this. It was only $4, and it was like a one-time payment. But I paid so that they could accept like all of my listening data from, I think I started using Spotify in like 2017, 2016, something like that. So I have all of my data in this one app, and it constantly logs your listening data. And I think it's not just Spotify, because it used to be called Spotistats, but they changed to stats.fm, and I think you might be able to do with like Apple Music and like Pandora if you use Pandora, or Tidal if you use that. Actually, I think it might just be Spotify and Apple Music now that I think about it. I don't really know about Pandora and the other ones. But anyways, they also did like a little wrapped type of thing, even though it came halfway through this month, which, this is a little bit removed from the Spotify wrapped hype, but considering that they're actually taking the entire year from 1/1 to 12/31, the entire year of your listening data. And it showed that the Faustian Spirit, all that to say, it showed that the Faustian Spirit was like my top listened to track of the year, which honestly, believable. I don't know off the top of my head. I am looking. I want to see how many streams I have of it. Of this one song. Let's see. That's the past 4 weeks. Bloop bloop. Okay, I'm not gonna pull it up because I have to put in like parameters. But anyways, I think it said that I had like 140 something streams for that song. All that to say is that I listened to one track from Mend a whole lot, thinking, okay, maybe, just maybe, the rest of the tracks are going to be like this. And for the most part, no. In fact, I've only listened to the album all the way through like once, but I think the Faustian Spirit is the only song on the album that has unclean vocals, which is like, okay. And I mean, there's some softer songs on other Eidola albums, but I usually skip them. For example, what is it? Kali Yuga on Eviscerate, that's like an automatic skip for me. Because it just kind of breaks up the flow of the album, Like, I don't really know where else it could go for it to, like, make sense within the album, like, order. But, like, where it is right now is not doing it for me. There's really not any songs like that on The Architect. But on To Speak to Listen, there's a song called Lodi, and I also always skip that because, again, it breaks up the flow of the album. And I do this on any heavy album that I listen to. If you put a track on your album that is, overall, let's say, a melodic metalcore, and all of a sudden there's like a random not track like that. Best example that I can give is on the album. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's their last album by Invent Animate, and I'm not thinking of it right now. I forgot the name of this album. That's sad. I forget the name of everything though. God, what is it? Heavener. Okay, so there's a track, Reverie, on Heavener. Oh my gosh, that, especially considering it's between False Meridian and Immolation of Night, that really, really badly breaks up the flow of the album. And I am a person who, I listen to music, usually, as albums all the way through. Not really, very rarely. I listen to playlists sometimes, but that's not my preferred way to listen to music. I like to listen to the album all the way through, beginning to end, top to bottom. I do not shuffle albums. That feels psychotic to me. And I feel like song order in an album matters. And, the placement, that really matters. And to put that track between, like, the two heaviest tracks on that album is, like, tonal whiplash to me, to be completely honest. It's strange. It's kind of odd. It's odd mixed strange. I don't know if I like it. So that's an automatic skip for me. Periphery 5, there's one, like, EDM track on there that I automatically skip. I forgot the name of it because I literally don't listen to it. Periphery 4, which I was listening to earlier today, also has an EDM track on it. Always skip that. It's called Crush. And it just breaks up the flow of things. And it's like, listen, you're a musical artist. You can do whatever you want on a body of work that you put out. But I just feel like, I don't know if I like it. And it's like, I don't know why those are put on the albums. I mean, like I said, you're a musical artist. You can do whatever you want with the body of work that you put out. But sometimes, I really don't fault bands and artists for doing this because, that unfortunately is how the industry is. But sometimes I get the impression that these bands make these songs and put them out to get some radio play, which, it's like, what's that one, like, metalcore station? Octane? Yeah. And it's like, okay, if you want to be on Sirius XM Octane, then fine, go ahead. But it's not gonna be it's not gonna be my thing. It's very it's very coworker metal, which is really, really funny, the term coworker metal to me, because I have a coworker who is, a metalhead. He's like the only other metalhead. Well, okay, that's not really true. I know a lot of metalheads now. But before I had become part of the scene here in Jackson, he was literally the only other metalhead that I knew. And he does listen to a lot of coworker metal bands, like, Five Finger Death Punch and Three Doors Down and those types of bands. And you know what? That's okay. He can like those things. It gives us something to talk about. But I will say, the descriptor of coworker metal is like really accurate for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah. I don't think we really have any bands in common, me and this coworker that I have in mind. Like, I'm trying to think, and I think I am, as elitist as this is going to sound, I think I am into stuff that is just too heavy for the for the masses, which is crazy. It's a crazy statement to make. Like, I fully get how crazy that statement is. Like, oh, I'm too brutal for everybody else. But I mean, for the one coworker that I have that listens to metal, I might be, and it's like, I don't know. That's a really good question. Like, why do I like the music that I like to listen to? And really, the only answer that I can give is that it makes my brain happy. That's it. Like, I've really gotten into hardcore recently, and like, I don't like, spin kicking and getting hearing loss. I just like the way that it sounds. Have I talked about? I don't think I have. Speaking of hardcore, this came to my mind. It's not on the list, but I do want to talk about it. Band out of Birmingham called No Cure, and I found out about this on the metalcore subreddit of all places. They put out, well, I guess they're technically straight edge, but straight edge hardcore, same thing. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Okay, don't get mad, but you get what I mean. Maybe thematically and sound-wise, the same thing. I mean, straight edge is a type of hardcore. Well, I guess straight edge is a type of punk. I'm not really gonna get into the whole subgenre thing. I really am not, okay? But I think technically they are considered straight edge, but, they sound like hardcore, if that makes sense. If I can make you, the viewer/listener, understand. Yeah, they put out an album called I Hope I Die Here, and it's got, like, I think it's, like, all features with, like, some other local Birmingham bands, but also, which I think Gideon is technically from Tuscaloosa, which, same difference, they're in the same area. They're both vaguely North Alabama, which, okay, no, Birmingham is definitely not Central Alabama. That would be Montgomery, but yeah, other North Alabama bands, and Gideon, which does have some, I guess, wider appeal in the, I guess the metalcore subreddit diaspora. Sure, yeah. So it got posted in the subreddit. I was like, oh, I'll listen to this, because I feel like I've heard of No Cure before, because I do follow a bunch of regional, like, DIY pages. Like, I follow a couple for New Orleans, North Alabama / Birmingham, Atlanta, Memphis, and I think that's mostly it. And I think, they've performed regionally in that area, I guess the general Southeast before. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll give it a listen. And I do really like it a lot. It's a good album. It's called I Hope I Die Here by No Cure. I did wonder, like, okay, what is it going to take to get them to come here? But I feel like they're going to, like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to ask for a guarantee, and I can't make any guarantees, because no one's perfect. Yeah, we'll say that. No one's perfect. But if, for some reason, any of the members of No Cure are watching this somehow, come to Jackson. Reach out. Let's make it happen. I would like to see it. And also, before you do that, I'm already going to tell you, can't do a guarantee. Sorry. I can't put forth the capital to do that because I'm broke and I'm trying to move. So, it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, anywho, how. All that aside, what was I even talking about? Coworker medal? Before that, I was talking about Mend. I guess we can get back to that. All I really have to say is that I listened to it once. I was like, I might give it another listen, but I don't know if it's gonna enter the rotation, Which is, I don't know, I was really looking forward to this. This is the final Eidola album, and it kind of sucks that I got into them, on their third or fourth album? Maybe their third, which was The Architect, which that came out, right before or right after I moved here to Jackson. So it's kind of nostalgic for me in a weird way. Anytime I hear a song from The Architect, I think about driving up and down I-55, going back and forth to work in Richland. So, because I was listening to that album a lot at that time. I like The Architect. I like To Speak to Listen a lot as well. I was hoping we might get a remaster because I don't know if it's just a Spotify version, but I don't think it's mixed really well. I consider myself to be an audiophile? I don't know, but I can tell when things sound crunchy, and I'm not gonna lie, I like the album a lot, but it sounds crunchy, which is unfortunate because it came out, in 2015 or something like that? So, I don't think time has anything to do with it sounding crunchy, but it sounds crunchy, and I would like to not hurt my ears when I listen to it. So, I was really hoping for a remaster, I don't know. Yeah, remaster, sure, why not? Everyone and their mom is remastering things. I guess if it did come out in 2015, which I'm not 100% sure that it did. So, I would have to, what's the release date on this? 2017. Goodness gracious, that's not that long ago. That was my final year of high school and my first year of college, which, yeah, I've already talked about the fact that it's been 4 years since I graduated, because I graduated December 2020. And I'm not going to think about that too hard. But anyways, I feel like, it's time for a remaster. Because again, it sounds crunchy. But, I did have, I guess, maybe too many expectations for Mend. Still like the Faustian Spirit. It's a banger song. Love it. We'll keep spinning it. It's probably definitely going to show up on my 2025 Spotify Wrapped because, oh boy, I play that song a whole lot. Yeah, that was that. And now I'm trying to think, but I don't think there's any other albums coming out that I'm looking forward to, and that's sad. I want to look forward to some music. I'm trying to think here locally, and I also can't really think of anything. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I can't think of something. Okay, as far as gigs that are coming up, when would this be? It's not going to be this week. Next week, next Friday. I was going to... Good Lord. Yeah, that's how bad my cough is, by the way. It's intense. Anyways, my good sis in Measureless Aeons, they're having a bit of a comeback on February 7th. That's when their next show is. Which I feel like I haven't really been keeping up with my personal calendar, and I need to go through and update it because I didn't put that one on the calendar. But anyways, my good sis in Measureless Aeons, collective noun, they're gonna be having a show on February 7th. I'm very much looking forward to that. They're gonna have some new material, and I don't know how much I can say, but as you all know, I am an insider, and what I will say is be on the lookout. That's all I can say. Oh man. Yeah, that'll be fun whenever that happens. The thing they need to be on the lookout for, I'm sprinkling hints in there. But yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that show. So yes, I guess technically I am looking forward to some new music. I think I haven't heard anything definitive about this yet, but Oh, and I could talk about this, but I interviewed the members of the band Death Rose from a Star, which I've talked about actually kind of a lot on this podcast now that I think about it. I interviewed them last May, which was kind of a while ago, and I never really got around to actually listening to the interview that I did until like, when was that? Maybe like last month, maybe like December. I actually got around to actually looking at that interview, which is crazy because it was only 12 minutes. It was a very short interview. I mean, it wasn't even a very short interview. It was a moderate length interview. You know, it just so happens that a couple of the other in-person interviews that I've done have been like really long. Um, but I interviewed them back in May, and I actually got around to writing that article, and it came out the week that the last episode, the week before last, is when it came out. And when I interviewed them then, they were talking about potentially getting in the studio and recording some new music to come out maybe early this year. And when I was at, which I've talked about this in the last episode, but when I was at the Kicking Farewell for Now show, they did play a new song. So I'm hoping something like that happens soon. But also, like I said, you know, the recording, I already know it's going to be great, but like nothing compares to seeing Death Rose from a Star live, which I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again because I talked about it at length last episode. But anyways, so I guess all that to say is that there is some music coming out locally that I can get excited for, but it's just, you know, thinking of my favorite bands, they take a while to make things, like Periphery. I mean, their last album came out 2 years ago? When did P5 come out? Was it really 2023? I mean, I could believe it if it was 2023. I'm doing a lot of looking up this episode. Boop-a-doo. Where is it? Where is it? This album came out, yep, in 2023. So it's been about it's only really been like 1 full year since it's been out. And, you know, from then, that previous album came out in 2019. So 2019 and 2023, see, 19, 2021, 22, 20, that's 5 years. So we can expect the next Periphery album to come out 2023, 24, 25, 26, 27, 2028. I will be in a whole new phase of my life when the next Periphery album comes out. That's wild to think about because, you know, the previous album, P4, came out when I was in college. I remember it very vividly. I woke up Friday morning, and the first thing I did, I didn't even get out of bed. I put my headphones in, and I hit play, and I listened to Reptile, and I was like, this is amazing. This is, I have been blessed on this Friday in my dorm room. And then when P5 came out, I don't know what I was doing on this day, actually. It was March 10th. I don't know what I was doing on this day, now that I think about it. I was probably working, if I had to guess. So, I don't know. Yeah. So, it'll be a while until the next Periphery album comes out. Actually, Invent Animate put out a song with, what was it, Polaris? Question mark? Called Return to One. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if this is like, just like a one. Did I say Polaris? I meant Silent Planet. Oopsie. I don't know if this is like new material, potentially. But also, if you think about it, Heavener came out 2 years ago. It came out the same, because it was Heavener and P5 that were going toe-to-toe for my album of the year, and I think P5 won out. So, I mean, again, it's been 2 years, but also, technically, Heavener Deluxe Edition came out last year, and, I mean, there was only, like, a couple new tracks, but, you know, I don't know, because if you think about it, from Greyview, well, okay, technically, there was something in between there, because there was, The Sun Sleeps, which came after Greyview. I'm trying to remember when that came out. I'm looking. We're getting a lot of looking today. When did this come out? 2021. And if I remember correctly, I feel like Greyview came out, I don't know, it could have been 2017. It feels like a lifetime ago that Greyview came out. It was when I was in college. No, it wasn't. Well, actually, it was March 2020. So yes, it was. So that came out in 2020. And then The Sun Sleeps, which was like a 3-track EP. Well, 2.5 tracks, because the middle track is like an interlude track. That came out in 2021. And then Heavener came out in 2023. So I don't know what they got going on, you know? I can't say. Who's to say? I'm only an insider here in Jackson, not elsewhere. So yeah, don't know when the next Invent Animate record is coming out. But it might be a while. It might be a while. I'm trying to think of the other bands that I like that make music. Era, they literally just put out Cure, so it's probably gonna be a while. And for them, let's see, Self-Titled came out in 2019. Yeah, so from 2019 to 2024, that was a little while. So I'm not really expecting anything from them for like a good bit. You know, it would be nice to see them again. When was the last time I saw them? Like in tour. It was a Cure tour in Birmingham. Yeah, it'd be nice to see them again. I'm trying to think. Who else am I a fan of? You know, so yeah, there's some stuff here locally that is happening, but with the larger bands that I'm into, there's not a whole lot of movement in that regard. And also tours. There are a lot of tours going on. You know, there might even be some that are happening near me, but I don't think I'm really going to be going to all that many like big concerts, you know, traveling out of town to go to big concerts this year, because again, I'm trying to save money to like move. And also, I did a lot of traveling last year comparative to like other years, I guess. And I'm not gonna lie, after a certain point, my coins were not stacking anymore, and I need them to stack again. Okay, especially considering like I just paid a ticket. Like I don't think I talked about this last episode, but no, because the day after that was when I actually went and paid the ticket. I think. Yeah, that's like $400 down the drain for something that wasn't even my fault, by the way. It wasn't my fault. And listen, I know everybody says that, but this is legitimately not my fault. However, I was not trying to go to court, okay? I do not want to step foot inside of a courthouse, and I don't want to step foot inside of a police station either, because it's just, you know, no thank you. Those people are sneaky. I do not trust them. So I just forked over the money, which thankfully I had it. Let's just say that. Thankfully, I had the almost $400 to give those bozos. Okay. So that set me back, because now I just straight up don't have $400. Like, oh my gosh, it was so much. And that was the first ticket I ever got to, by the way. Okay. Like, for again, something that wasn't my fault. Anyways. First ticket ever, and it was almost 100, not almost 100, well over 100. It was almost $400. I'm still mad about that. It still makes me mad, but I mean, it's all said and done now. It's paid for, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to go to court, so it's like whatever. But that really that pissed me off. If I'm being real, that pissed me way off. Because again, it wasn't my fault, but whatever. I'm not gonna belabor the point. It's done now. I want my money back though, because anyways. Yeah, all that to say, I'm not going to be doing as much traveling. But, however, I do have a family reunion coming up either in June or July. I don't really know yet. The family group chat is not said, which I feel like they should at some point, maybe soon. I could ask my mom about it. But, the last family reunion I had, it was here in Jackson. Well, yeah, here in Jackson, because that's where a lot of this is like where the home base is, I guess technically. So that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. I like family reunions. You know, I like seeing my extended family at times other than somebody freaking dying. It's actually pretty nice. Who could have told me that? You know, who could have saw that coming? But this next one is in Memphis, which is nice because, you know, it's still somewhat close. It's a prolonged drive away, but what I think I'm gonna do, and what I've tried to, well, I wanted to take a cruise. I wanted to have a cruise for the next family reunion, but the people, I was outvoted So, I still want to take a cruise. I mean, I've been on a cruise before. It was when I was like 11 years old. So, the majority of the things that I did on the cruise were like eat a bunch of food and swim a lot. Like I was constantly in the water. There's one thing about me is if I'm somewhere and there is water and it's not like the ocean or anything, I don't do the open ocean. It's scary. Okay. I don't want to get swept out. I'm not that great of a swimmer. However, despite that, love being in the water. Love being in the water. Pools, controlled environments. I'm not in lakes, I'm not in rivers, I'm not in oceans, but I love a pool. I love a pool. So I swam a lot during that time. And there was an arcade on the boat. And I remember there's this one arcade game that I played a lot. And my parents ended up giving me like $20 for like spending money. And, this is like 2011, so $20 would have actually stretched a little bit. And I feel like I spent all 20 of those dollars at that arcade playing Time Crisis 4. And I could never get very far. It was actually kind of frustrating. But that's kind of... Arcades are like casinos for children. And there was a casino on the boat as well. So, but that's basically what I did. And just like, I guess walked around, explored, got seasick, got really seasick. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if I would want to be on a cruise because I was really seasick. However, when I was a kid, I got carsick a lot. I don't get carsick anymore, mainly because I'm the one who's driving when I am in a car. So I still do get motion sick very easily, though. And also, the whole having vertigo thing. That's not great. It's basically motion sickness and you're standing still. It's so fun. It's not fun at all. I don't know if you could detect the sarcasm, but it's not fun at all. It's actually very terrifying when it does happen. And I can't do anything about it. It's really fun. Really great. Anyway. However, given that I don't get car sick anymore, I don't know if I would get seasick. And I've never gotten sick on a plane. And, I've flown when I was a kid. And I've flown, more ish now as an adult. I don't get sick on planes. I don't get sick in cars. I get vertigo, but that's like a whole other separate issue, maybe. I mean, it's still my vestibular system, but it's like different, I guess. So I don't know, maybe I will be better on a boat, but I want to get on a cruise as an adult. And listen, I know they have the metalhead cruises. I don't think I would ever get on one of those. I mean, I might do it for like the lulz, but that is something that costs too much to do for the lulz. Like, listen, if I ever had enough money where I could just like go on the metalhead cruise for the lulz, then maybe. But, I don't know. I get it. I am a metalhead. In theory, I should enjoy the metalhead cruise, but I don't know. I don't know if I like the vibe. But I would do it just like once for the laughs. But again, it's like a $4,000. Okay, I don't think it costs that much. It is a many several $100 thing to do for laughs. So I don't think I'll be doing that now. Maybe when I get older and have more money. But now, I don't know. I don't know. And also the fact that they depart from like Florida. So I would have to like, buy a plane ticket, go down to Florida, and then like get on a boat and then go wherever the boat is going and then come back and get on another plane, which I mean, that's not, that is not really that bad. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I have a family reunion in Memphis and I'm going to try to get a group together who are here in the area since we do have a train station and it is in fact operational. I know, shocker. Which, I mean, I don't think Jackson's Amtrak station is like at risk of just like not being operational anymore, especially considering, how many like smaller stations there are on the City of New Orleans line, which is what Jackson is on. And I mean, they're operational. People get on in like Hazelhurst, so you can still do it. But I love getting on the train though. I want to get on the train again and just like go down to New Orleans again because that was a lot of fun. Oh, it was so much fun. I had a great time. getting on the train, going to New Orleans for no reason in particular. I did it to see Sleeping with Sirens. That was a lot of fun, but I also did it just to go down there, and I went with my mom and my aunt, and it was a great time. I gotta find like another 3-day weekend where I can do that, or I could just make a 3-day weekend myself and go down there. I mean, it did recently snow, so I'm not gonna lie. Seeing that it snowed, okay, I need to take a detour for a second before I come back to Memphis, but seeing that it snowed in like New Orleans and like Mobile and like it was, snow drifts on the beach, and people were like, "Oh, this is so much fun." Like, "Ooh, it's snowing on the beach." But like that's kind of dystopian to me. I don't know if anybody else felt that way when it was snowing in New Orleans, but that was like weird, right? Like it's not supposed to snow down there. Like for all intents and purposes, I mean, that's a swamp. Florida's a swamp, and Mobile is less swamp, more tropical, I would say. As someone who has been to Mobile a number of times, because I have family down there. But like it's not giving what I think everyone thought it was giving. Like it's not Winter Wonderland where it feels dystopian to me, It feels like the glaciers are melting and it feels weird. It feels weird that it was snowing down there. And I don't I don't know what to say about it. And also the fact that it was snowing down there, but it wasn't snowing up here. Like we got nothing. We got dust. Okay? Not even dust. We got just like a little bit of ice because it was below freezing for several days. And, it was water outside that happened to be outside was freezing. And so there was the ice. But, aside from that, we got nothing. And I was really mad about that because I really did not want to go to work the week after Martin Luther King. Like, ugh. And honestly, because we had a big freeze this time last year, literally around Martin Luther King. It was like that 3-day weekend that I had turned into 4 or 5 days. And I'm not gonna lie, by the end of it, I was like starting to go insane. I was like, I've been inside looking at no one but myself in the mirror for too long. Like, I need some human interaction or I'm gonna start chewing on the drywall. Like, it was getting weird. But, it's just a little bit of cabin fever, just a little bit. But that didn't happen this go round. It happened for other people. It didn't happen for us. So, sirens outside. Well, anyways, back to Memphis. Like I said, I'm not really gonna travel for, concerts or anything like that this year. Unless, listen, which technically we already have Periphery supporting Coheed and Cambria in Huntsville, but Huntsville is like far. Huntsville is like 5 hours away on the road. Like it's not 5 hours. It's like closer to 4, I think, 4.5, something like that. And, that's just too much for me. And it's like at an amphitheater. It's outside in May in Alabama. That's too much. That's team too much. I can't do it. Like outside in May in Alabama. Like, first of all, it might be raining. So I gotta just get rained on, to see the supporting act, not even the main act. Which, I was gonna say, I like Coheed and Cambria. I can't name a single Coheed and Cambria song, so I am a poser, I guess. But yeah, that was already gonna be too much. But listen, if there was like just an amazing lineup happening that I just had to go to, then maybe. There's like a hardcore festival actually going on in Baton Rouge in like April, and I was thinking about going, but like Baton Rouge, I don't know if I'll go to it. I mean, it does appear to be a semi DIY operation because I think the tickets were like $20 or something like crazy for like more than 10 bands. I think it was almost like 15 bands. It was a 1-day thing, but still, it was like $20 for like 10 bands. That was crazy. So I mean it might be, I don't think that really has any bearing on how the event will go, but I was thinking about that. And then, I don't know, like there's stuff going on elsewhere. It's just, I don't know if I want to spend the money to go. That's the thing about it. However, all that to say, bringing it back around, since I will be going to Memphis, and there is a pretty active, yes, I will say there is a pretty active DIY scene in Memphis. Also, I don't know for sure. I think I'm like 90% sure it is. But there is a music festival. Well, I don't know if yeah, it is a music festival. It's called Goner Fest. And I'm pretty sure it's in Memphis. Goner Fest. Let's just look at 2024. I don't know what time of year it is, though. It was in September. Okay. September 26th to 29th. Actually, no, that was some other music festival that the time, or it got moved up. I think it was Furnace Fest. Got moved from September to like October. So no, it's not that. But Goner Fest, maybe I do want to go to Goner Fest. It's in Memphis. Isn't it? Is it not? Where is it actually? Oh yes, it is in Memphis. So, maybe I'd want to go to that, because, that's a pretty legendary event. And I kind of want to experience it. I think it would be fun. It's a 4-day thing. And I think it starts in on a Thursday. It started on a Thursday. And, I could go stay at the one really cheap hotel that I stayed at the 2 times that I've been to Memphis. One of those times I checked out, walked outside, and I saw that the truck parked next to me had no wheels on it. It was just on the struts. I don't know what you would call it. No wheels. The wheels were gone. It had no wheels. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if somebody took them. However, I don't know. It was really weird. What I did know is that I was glad they didn't take my wheels, because if they did, I would have been stranded in Memphis, and that would have sucked. Also, people in Memphis drive like they want to die. It's crazy. Memphis has the craziest drivers in any place that I've ever personally driven in. I'm sure it's probably way worser in Atlanta, but I've never actually driven in Atlanta. I've been driven around Atlanta, but I've never driven in it. And I refuse to, because I know they definitely drive like they want to die over there. So that's why I flew instead of driving. Also the fact that it would have taken forever. But anyways, I think it would be really fun to take, not all of them, because I have a lot, but a few of my similar age cousins to what is probably going to be their first metal show, if there are any going on during that time, which, it's going to be during the summer. I would think there would be a decent amount of events going on in Memphis, so I'm just going to have to keep my eyes peeled at the, Memphis DIY pages to see what's going to go on this summer. But also, something that I really wanted to do, especially since I went to Atlanta, last November to see Animals as Leaders, but I also went to a local show there at Mom Said It's Fine, which is a really cute little venue. So cold. It was freezing in that place. A little concrete box. It was so cold, but, it was November. But I really want to go to more local shows in other places. I could start small by going to, Hattiesburg or, Memphis or something not Memphis, Starkville. But Hattiesburg and Starkville are kind of far. And if I would go, this would not be a 1-day type of thing. I'm gonna have to go and stay overnight, because it's a long drive, and driving at night is not the tea for me. There's not that much going on in Vicksburg. There are some events that go on over there once in a blue moon. And I think whatever the next one is, I probably do want to go to it. Considering pretty much all of the Vicksburg bands I am a fan of. So I would like to go see something there again, because I have been before, and that was really nice. And I do still want to go to a show in Hattiesburg, though. I think that would be fun. They have a lot of fun down in Hattiesburg, and I want to check it out. It'll be nice to go with someone, but I was going to say I don't know anyone that would go with me. I know there's probably a lot of people that would go with me. It's just, would I ask them? Would they offer to go? That's the thing. I'm just a wee bit too shy to do that, I guess. And Starkville, it's fine. It's mostly college kids and stuff, which I'm I've aged out of that age group. So I mean that just doesn't really mean I can't go or anything like that. It's just I don't know. That's mostly it's a college town, which I guess Jackson is also a college town. I don't really think of it as a college town. There are, three universities here because you have Jackson State, obviously, which I think that has most of the activity going on. But you also have Belhaven and Millsaps, and I might be missing one. I guess the law school. I don't know. That's like postgraduate studies, though. I think. So it's not like, that's not really undergrad. I mean, there's the medical school is like, I guess postgraduate. And med students, they don't have time to do things other than drink alone in their overpriced apartments because, yeah, all of the housing around UMMC is appallingly priced because they know those students are going to use their financial aid to pay for it. So yeah, anyways, I'm not going to get into it. Anywho, yeah, I want to go to a show in Memphis when I'm there this summer with my Mi Familia, and I want to subject everyone else in my family to it as well. I want to open up my life to them. This is like a part of me. So, what better way to bond with your family than doing activities that you usually do? I don't know. I feel like it'll be fun. I hope it'll be fun. Anyway, and if there are any like bigger concerts going on in Memphis, I would also like to go. I would like to be there. So yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that was it for that topic. Anywho, I only had 3 things on the list today. And I still found a way to talk about 2 of those things for like an hour. But I had a pretty good day yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I don't know. Sometimes on the weekends I feel like I can't just like relax and just like chill out and just like do nothing. And that might be a part of growing up. That the time for chilling out, max, and relaxing all cool is gone, which is unfortunate. But I feel like yesterday I was able to just like chill. I did have to wash my hair yesterday, and that takes a prolonged amount of time. Not because it takes me a long time to wash my hair, but because I procrastinated. I feel like I'm procrastinating it more and more each time I have to wash my hair. Also, my hair has gotten a lot longer. This is doing no favors, but I got because it's in braids right now. But I took a little front piece of my hair and I measured it. The last time that I measured it, it was 12 and a half inches. This time, I don't know, maybe I was doing it wrong, but it looked like it was like 16 inches, which that doesn't feel right because the last time I measured my hair had to be 2 months ago. And could my hair have grown like 4 inches in 2 months? If that, I mean, I think it was like right at 16. So, like, maybe. And, I am kind of, I don't know, experimenting. And the experiment is that I do nothing. That's the experiment. I just want to see how long my hair can get. But also, I low-key don't really like having long hair. It's a lot to deal with. And I also don't want to cut it myself again because I feel like I might mess up, which I didn't really mess up last time. But you also can't tell because I never wear my hair down anymore. And I want to wear my hair down more. So I think if I had maybe like 10 inches of hair instead of 16, that would be like more achievable. And also, I mean, probably more is going to have to be taken off because it's really uneven. Like, I think I said I didn't mess up. I think I kind of did mess up when I cut my hair. I mean, it looked fine to me before. I watched the first few minutes of a tutorial on how to cut natural hair, and I was like, you know what? That's enough. And all I did was I parted my hair down the middle, and I took sections, and each section, which I'm just like pantomiming, stroking my hair, but each section I cut about right at my chin. And I was like, you know what, that's enough. And I like that length. I thought it was a cute length. I liked how I felt, with my hair that short, I guess. But it was uneven because I did it side by side. It wasn't I couldn't really look at the back. So I think what ended up happening is that in the back sections, one side was a different length from the other side, and it was kind of odd mixed strange, but it's grown out since then. I mean, the last time I cut my hair was like 2 years ago because I was living in my old apartment, and that was the second time I had any amount of length taken off my hair. Because the first time was when I actually went natural in 2020, and that was done by a professional. I had a professional chop off all of my heat damaged and color damaged hair, because I mean at that point it wasn't good. It wasn't looking good for my tresses, so I had them cut off, and I had my mom take me to the salon. Actually, no, I didn't. I went to the salon, and my mom followed me there because I think she had a hair appointment there as well. And the look on my mom's face as I was getting my hair cut, I'll never forget it. It looked like she was watching as the hairdresser cut all 4 of my limbs off. Like, she was horrified that I was cutting my hair. And, like, I've done, like, a whole, video essay about my relationship with my hair, but, it ain't good, I'll tell you that much. I mean, it's starting to get good now, but, like, it wasn't good there for a while. Like, it's crazy for me to think about that I legitimately had never washed my own hair until I was a senior in high school. Like, my entire life, my hair care was left up to somebody else and not me. And I had very little say in how my hair looked, I remember I was in middle school, and I don't know why, because I don't think this looks good, but I really, really, really wanted to get my hair crimped when I was in middle school. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think I saw anybody who had their hair crimped, and I was like, oh, that's cute. I don't know. I don't think it's cute. Just putting that out there. I don't think it's that cute, but I really wanted to do it. My mom would not let me do it, which is crazy. Because I mean, it's just, you can undo it is the thing. And then when I was in high school, I really wanted to dye my hair like a teal blue green color, and my mom was like, absolutely not, you're not doing that. So we compromised, and I got like a brown balayage, and after a while it started to look okay, but it also damaged the crap out of my hair because I didn't know how to take care of it, because no one told me. No one thought it was important information for me to know. And I went to the hairdresser like once a month, which meant I was washing my hair about once a month. And let me tell you, my scalp for a little while there, it was kind of crazy. It was not great. Like, it wasn't good, And I always remember thinking, like, white people don't have to do this much. They don't have to expend this much energy to take care of their hair. Like, why does it have to be different for me? And I'll tell you, young Aaron, why it has to be different from you. Your hair texture is different. Like, you have to put effort into it. Otherwise, your stuff is gonna be effed up. So that's the reason. Like, you don't have straight hair. So you have to do more to take care of it. But we're living in a straight hair world, and I'm just a curly haired girl. So, that kind of information, even though back then I feel like when I was like in high school, like the natural hair revolution was like starting to start up. So there was a little bit more information out there, but I feel like a lot of it was not like centralized, there were a lot of conflicting opinions on how to take care of black people's hair, especially on like YouTube and stuff like that. So also, I just straight up wasn't watching any YouTube tutorials. So even if the information was out there, I wasn't looking for it. All I know is shampoo and conditioner and rinse it out and question mark. That's all I knew at the time. Well, I guess straighten it at the time. That was what I was doing. I would do that in college. And now I feel like I have a pretty decent handle on how to take care of my hair. Even though it's been 2 years since I've had a haircut, my ends aren't as split as they were before I cut my hair. Because that's why I cut my hair the second time. It's because my ends were like way split. And also, I just wanted it to be shorter. But now I feel like I'm doing okay. You know, I don't have like super crazy breakage. I will say, when I do my hair like this and like these just two braids, because this is, I don't have any energy to twist my hair. That's what this hairstyle is. It does get pretty dry. I will say that. So I have to actually, you know, put effort into moisturizing it, but that requires taking it down and, you know, wetting it again and moisturizing it again and rebraiding it. And sometimes, you know, if my hair is in braids, I already don't have the energy. So how am I going to have the energy to, like, you know, make it moisturized? So it's like, you know, sometimes I think about, okay, what if I did just like started going to a hairdresser again? And then I look at the prices that some of these people charge, and I'm like, I can't do that. I'm already, you know, like okay. So like realistically it might be, I don't know, like $80 every 3 weeks. That's not that bad, but like if I don't have to spend that money, I don't think I want to. And you know, I like the fact that I can take care of my own hair, you know. I feel like I've gotten pretty decent at it, but having to pay someone to do something that I could do for free is just like a major turn off for me. Unless it's like food. Because, like, I don't feel like cooking most of the time. So I will gladly spend probably too much money on food. But anything else, like, no thank you. I'll do it myself. Thank you very much. Anyway, I had to wash my hair yesterday. I washed my hair yesterday and I was like, you know, I want to get out of the house. It's finally like kind of warm after being like really cold for a few weeks, a couple weeks at this point. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy anything or anything like that. I want to go to like the Goodwill, see what's up there. And I wasn't trying to look at clothes or anything like that. I went straight back to the electronics section. And the one that I was at didn't really have a robust selection, but it did have a DVD VCR player. And I was like, could I make use of a DVD VCR player? And it's like, no, I can't. No, I can't. I don't even have, I don't even think I could hook it up to like one of my monitors. Like, no, I don't have a television. So, like, what would I attach it to? And also, the last thing that I need in my domicile at this juncture, because again, keep in mind that number one, my apartment is really small, and number two, I'm trying to get ready to like move. Like, I'm speaking it into existence so that when the time comes, I'll actually do it. And the last thing I need is just like more crap, because like I have a decent amount of stuff. And it was really nice when I moved the last time to just like get rid of a bunch of stuff, because then it felt like I was starting with a clean slate at my new place. But like now, you know, I could get rid of a lot of stuff. I probably will end up getting rid of maybe not a lot, but a decent amount of stuff that I have. Just like taking up space that I don't want or need or use. So I don't know if I want to add a DVD VCR player to the mix, cause, but you know, what I also saw there was it was a 2-sided tape deck. It was one of those tape decks that you could like record on. You could, I guess, copy like a tape. And you know, I have been thinking about getting something that can play my tapes, because I have a decent amount of tapes. I would like to be able to play them. And you know, I have, you know, a couple of bookshelf speakers and like a Bluetooth receiver, and that's like my very goodness, my very pared down hi-fi setup. I'm laughing because it's not hi-fi at all. And so, you know, maybe when I get to a place with more space, I would like to expand, because I would like, you know, a really decent setup to listen to music on. Because growing up, in the first house that I lived in, and I'm pretty sure this was like all my dad's, but we had, you know, back in the 2000s, you had the entertainment center, okay? Like, we had one of those TVs that was like, it was pretty big, but it was also like kind of like its own cabinet, you know? It had like, well, okay, I think the TV and the cabinet itself were like separate, but you know, they went together. So we had the big, the big back CRT TV, right? and it was pretty decently sized. And we had like a little cabinet under it where we had like DVDs and VHS tapes and stuff like that. And we had our DVD player and our VCR player, or yes, our VCR and our VHS player, because my mom would record her soaps on tapes to watch when she got home from work. My mom watched The Young and the Restless. I don't think she does anymore. Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask her if she still watches The Young and the Restless, because that was my mom's jam. She loved it. Um, but she recorded episodes, before a DVR became a thing. She recorded episodes on tapes and play those and watch them back. It was a lot of fun. So there was that. And my dad also had, and I thought about this recently because yesterday after I went to Goodwill, I went to this like huge indoor antique market in Flowood. It's amazing. If you haven't gone, you should really go. But I saw like a lot of these. The big like tower Sony speakers that had like the wood finish on them. I saw those exact ones at the antique market, several of them, by the way. My dad had those, the big tower speakers. And he also had attached to, the entertainment system, like all of these like modules on the like hi-fi system. There was one that took CDs. There was one that might have been like an amplifier or something like that. And one of the components had like a radio on it, and it had like all these like knobs and stuff and like switches. And I think one of them also might have been like a tape deck as well. And my dad had this huge tower of CDs. But like he never used it. He hardly ever used it. I don't think, growing up, I don't ever remember him like actually using it aside from maybe one time. And I don't know why. I ought to ask him why he never really used that hi-fi setup when we were kids. But he had that, and I remembered that, and I saw at this antique store like so many of those old school hi-fi setups. Like, listen, I love an indoor flea market because in Selma there are about 3, which is crazy that there's that many in a city that small, but there are 3 indoor flea markets. Yeah, and not whenever I'm home, but when I was like unemployed, something that I would do is I would just go and I would just walk around and have a look at all this stuff. I never bought anything. I would just go to look at all the old crap, because the thing about these like indoor like flea markets and antique stores is that, there's just stuff on top of stuff. There's like stuff, so much to be discovered. They sold anything from like antique furniture to like new-ish appliances and like beds and like furniture and stuff like that was still, moderately new, but also, old electronics, old video games, stuff like that. And the Flowood Antique Market is like one of those stores, but like times 10. It was amazing. I had so much fun. They did charge me admission. It was only $1. But I was like, oh, I have to pay to go in here and look around? Okay. Which, like, I get it. There are a lot of people like me who go into these places not really intending to buy anything, just wanting to look around at the stuff. And I was only there for about 20 minutes, but, it was a lot of fun. And honestly, if I was gonna say if I had friends, that's not. I have friends. I just don't have friends that I hang out with one-on-one very often. Why would I say that? Anyways, if it would, all that's to say is that it would be nice to take a person there and just like go and look at the stuff and marvel at all the things. Because I saw there's so much stuff. Like there was a old video game vendor. They just had like a wall of Xboxes and a wall of Wii's and like a bunch of GameCubes and like N64s. I saw like they had like 3 or 4 like golden N64s and like old games from like pretty much every system. They had classic NESs. They had pretty much every single game system you can think of, aside from maybe like the latest gen, because that's it's still being sold like new. So I feel like they had up to like the PS3 generation in there, and it was just like a huge wall of all of this stuff. I'm talking pretty much almost floor to ceiling in this gigantic warehouse, you know? Just so much stuff. I saw antique cameras. I saw this one camera. It didn't have any branding on it or anything. It was like a weird box. And it had a lens on the front. And it also had two different viewfinders. And it was really weird because the viewfinders looked almost electronic. But they weren't. They couldn't have been because the thing looked like it was from like 1910 or something like that. And it had like two different viewfinders, and it was so fascinating to me. I didn't know what it was. I saw a Brownie reflex camera in there, which that's been on the brain for me for some reason because I saw again an Instagram ad that they have like a digital version of that camera now, which I don't think it's being made by that company because I mean the company probably doesn't exist anymore. If it is, cool. But considering I saw it in an Instagram ad, it's probably not. I saw a bunch of Canon AE1s. I saw a Canon AE1 that had this gigantic like telephoto lens on it, telephoto zoom lens on it. I think it was like 18 to like 200 millimeters or something like that. I saw all kinds of things at this place. And honestly, I think, if I could just like go there like once a month, then that's gonna fix me. That's gonna fix everything. Honestly, like I had such a good time there, just like looking at old stuff. It's crazy. But after that, I took myself out to some dinner. I went to the fine dining establishment known as Golden Corral. Which, listen, I know we are probably all collectively over Golden Corral. However, considering how crowded it was when I went on a Saturday, like afternoon, I don't think we are all collectively over Golden Corral and like buffets in general. Because like after 2020, I feel like we all collectively agreed that buffets were mildly unhygienic. But I try not to think too hard about those things. That's probably why I'm sick. you know, Anyways, I went down to the old Golden Corral because I don't know, I don't mind a buffet. I think it's pretty great, and I got evangelized to Golden Corral because my mom was visiting, and her and my aunt and my uncle like wanted to go out to eat somewhere, and I was like, wherever we go, I don't care as long as I don't have to pay for it. So I ended up going to Golden Corral, and I was like, this place is this is such an insane statement to make, but I was like, this place is magical. They have everything I could ever want all at my fingertips for one fixed price. And it's so crazy. Because last time I've been to Golden Corral, previous to that time, I think I was like in middle school, and I was like on a class trip or something like that, and we all ended up going to Golden Corral, and it was like a magical moment for me. Because, again, it's anything I could ever want just at my fingertips for one fixed price. That, of course, being that I was in middle school, I wasn't paying for it. Our chaperones or whatever were paying for it, so... And when I was in middle school, this was the time that they had the chocolate fountain, because I know they retired the chocolate fountain after COVID because people are gross, and again, this is something that when you're at these kinds of places, you just can't think about it too hard, because otherwise you will gross yourself out, and I'm just trying to eat a meal, okay? And I don't want to do all that. But at this time, they had the freaking chocolate fountain, and they had all the stuff that you could dip in the chocolate fountain, and that was great, and I think they might have had I don't know if I'm making this up, but I feel like they also had like a cheese fountain or something like that, like a fondue fountain type of thing. But I do remember the chocolate fountain. And let me tell you that as a middle schooler who grew up in a very small town, I might as well have been in Vegas. I might as well have been in Vegas having all you can eat crab claws and lobster tails, because that's what it felt like, honestly. And as an adult, like, it doesn't really feel like that anymore. It feels like, a mid-range buffet that is mildly unhygienic, but it's probably best not to think of these things. But honestly, I do want to go to a Vegas buffet, eat some crab claws. I really want to eat lobster. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's because I've been given just like a lot of like those seafood boil like YouTube shorts and Instagram videos of people just like absolutely devouring just like the hugest lobsters and crabs and other sea crustaceans that I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, God, I want that. I want to eat the giant lobster claws, you know? And they don't have that at Cracker Barrel. The only seafood they have is like fish and like fried shrimp that's, previously frozen. So I couldn't do that. But, there's not really a whole lot for me in Vegas, considering it is a gambling city and I don't like to gamble and I was gonna say I don't respect gamblers, which is crazy, but I don't respect gamblers. I don't, straight up. That's it. But they do have this world-class buffets with all of the crab legs and the crab claws and the whole crabs. I don't do whole crabs though. I don't like it when my food looks like it was previously alive. So I can't do a whole crab. I can't do a whole shrimp with the head on it that you gotta peel the freaking exoskeleton off of it. I can't do whole lobster. I can't do whole fish. If it has the head and the eyes still on it, I can't do it. And like, listen, as a person who eats meat, I know that my food was previously alive. I don't want to be reminded of that fact. Because it grosses me out and I don't like looking at dead things. Just straight up, I don't. So, I remember I begged my dad to buy these whole crabs when we were down in Mobile so we can, take them back home and cook them and eat them. And, he cooked them in this giant pot with all the seasonings, and then he spread out the newspaper on our dining room table and he put the crab in front of me and I was like, I can't do this. This is team too much. Like, what is organs and what is meat? Like, what am I eating guts? Like, what am I doing? Why is the head still on here? Does this thing have a head where its eyes? Like, this is a lot. Like, I couldn't do it. And that's when I figured out that I don't like eating things that look like they were previously alive. You would think an experience like that would turn me like vegetarian or something. It didn't. I just need my meat to be butchered. That's it. So, yep, that's that. So I had a succulent American meal at I was going to say Cracker Barrel. It's not Cracker Barrel. It's Golden Corral. Speaking of a succulent Chinese meal, I do like Chinese food, authentic and Americanized. And, I haven't been to a Chinese buffet in a while. And now I'm wondering, I haven't been to a Chinese buffet, like, since pre-COVID. They must still exist. Because, I see them when I'm, like, driving around. But, like, I don't know. I want to go to a Chinese buffet. And also, I know a lot of people have, like, a little complex about going to restaurants or, like, doing things in general alone. And I'm not gonna lie, some restaurants I won't go to alone. I feel like a fine dining establishment is not a place that I want to go to alone. There is this restaurant, however, called Bravo. It's, like, in the bougie little area off of I-55, and I've been there a couple times on company money. Okay, I've been there for work purposes, so I've not had to pay for anything there, and their food is really good. Like, the last time I went, it was like our end of the year little get together with my department, and we drank and we ate and we were merry. I had like a little glass of wine because that's what I do because I don't like the taste of hard liquor. I had my little glass of wine and I ordered the duck breast and I had some tiramisu and it was great. It was so delicious. Like, the duck was good. Like, the vegetables that came with it was great. Like, wow. And honestly, I want to go, like, again, but that duck breast was $40. So, not on my dime. I shan't be going back on my dime. And I have, like, a gift card. I got a $50 gift card because, we sometimes get given gift cards as it's as a little thank you for our hard work. Oh, good Lord. As a little thank you for our hard work in my department, and I've gotten a few of these gift cards. And they will work at Bravo, but I don't know, maybe I should go back. I feel like I have like 2 half-empty gift cards that I could use. just take myself to dinner, have a little me date, which is essentially what I did yesterday. I went to a little activity. I went thrifting, didn't buy anything, just window shopping, and then I took myself out to a late or an early dinner, and then I went to see a movie. I finally saw The Brutalist. I'm very happy about it. Because I was talking last episode, like, even though it's won in the awards, The Brutalist will not come to our theaters, which I don't know why I turned French there all of a sudden, but yeah, it's finally here in theaters, which is really weird because I did look at like the official IMAX list for The Brutalist, and I mean, it did say it didn't list, you know, Mississippi as being one of the locations. However, it is available in IMAX here. In fact, I think it's only available in IMAX here because it's not at Cinemark. It's only in Malco and it's only in IMAX, which I don't know why. I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, it was like $20, but it's an IMAX showing. It's gonna be a little bit expensive, So I was very happy to see that. I bought my ticket immediately, and I went and I spent 3.5 hours at the movie theater yesterday. And you know what? It didn't feel like 3.5 hours. It was paced well, when the intermission came, because there was an intermission. It's 15 minutes, about halfway through the movie. I was like, oh, it's already intermission time. That's interesting, which is really great that there was intermission, because that gave me time to, go potty, because halfway through, like, I mean, I didn't really have to go, but I felt like in about 30 minutes it was going to be a problem. So I'm glad they gave us a potty break for about 15 minutes. That is great. I think more long movies should have an intermission. Of course, God, of course, that depends on the movie itself, because The Brutalist is broken up into 2 parts. I guess, narratively. So I feel like hold on. Okay, no. Because Oppenheimer is technically broken up into 2 parts, because there's the color part and the black and white part, but those are running in parallel, so that doesn't really... Anyways, I feel like if your movie is going to be over 3 hours, however, you need to put a potty break in there, because some of us can't hold it, okay? And I don't want to have to miss something like I did with Tar and then come back and be completely confused. Even though Tar was just like a little over 2 hours long, I went to the bathroom the first time I saw it in the third act, right at the beginning of the third act. I came back, everything was falling apart, and I was like, what the heck did I miss? Like, what happened? Oh my god. And then I ended up rewatching it on streaming, on 123 Movies, of course. And I still was confused. So I don't think me taking a potty break actually made a difference. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is currently raining. It's been raining for about half the day, which I really hope it's not going to rain tomorrow. I'm gonna check that later, because I have another all day shoot tomorrow. That's not gonna be fun if it's raining. Anywho, I went to see The Brutalist. Okay, what I'm about to say is probably going to be embarrassing, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it anyways. I'm being brave, okay? So, I don't do a lot of research before I watch a movie. Sometimes, the most amount of research I will do is watch a trailer. And usually, I don't seek out trailers. They're, playing before a movie that I'm already seeing. I will see the title of the movie, I will see the poster, I will see, the cast list, and I will see the log line, and that's as far as I'm going. And maybe the trailer, if it's shown to me before a movie, or... I pretty much skip all YouTube ads, so even if it is shown to me in an ad, I'm gonna skip it. So, I did very little research before watching The Brutalist, and all I knew was it's about a guy who is a brutalist architect. That was it. I don't even think I read the log line for this one, because I don't know what it is. I would be interested to know. That might actually give me more understanding of the movie itself. But I just saw the poster with Adrian Brody in it, and I saw the title, and I was like, oh, it's about architecture. And oh, this is based on a true story. Like, oh, it's about the guy who like invented like brutalist architecture. This is gonna be fun because I'm not like super duper into it, but I am an appreciator of architecture. You know, even though I didn't really do a whole lot when I was up in Chicago, I did want to go to the Frank Lloyd Wright House. However, it was a little bit far from where I was like staying, so I was like, I don't know if I want to venture that far away from like my home base because I don't want to get lost or like stranded out there. You know, I was there by myself. But I was like, oh, it's a movie about the preeminent brutalist architect based on a true story. That's so cool. I want to see it. And of course, went through the festival circuit, and I heard that I was doing really well in the festival circuit, and then it won a Golden Globe. I didn't watch the Golden Globes, but I heard that it won for what? I don't even know. Doesn't matter. I just heard that it won. And I was like, oh, cool. Now that it won a Golden Globe, surely it'll come to our theaters. Eventually, it did come to our theaters. I sat down in the movie theater in Madison in my little seat right in the very middle of the theater because that's where I always sit. And I was watching this and I was like, man, this story is insane. I can't believe this happened. And so this is spoilers for The Brutalist. Very mild spoilers, but spoilers for The Brutalist. They basically I would say the first part centers around Adrian Brody's character. His name is Laszlo Toth, making this like really ambitious building for like his rich benefactor. And I was like, man, this building looks really cool. The movie is for the most part set in Philadelphia. Like afterwards I looked up, the name of the building, Philadelphia, and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, does the building not exist anymore? Did it get torn down? Like they said in the movie, it was completed in the 70s. It must still be there. Like, is it not in? I mean, I know it's like outside Philadelphia. What do I have to do to look for it? And then I do a little bit more research, and I realize, oh, this is fiction. This is straight up fiction. Like this did not happen. Like, listen, again, I am an appreciator of architecture, but I'm not like, I'm not reading books about it. So I didn't know that Laszlo Toth was like not a real person and not like the, preeminent brutalist architect of, the post-war era. Like, I thought I was going to be learning things during this movie. And also, I will say this, the first part does center around the construction of this building, but the second part, there's not like a lot of actual like architecture stuff in it, because clearly this movie is not really about architecture. I mean, it's not called Brutalism, it's called The Brutalist. It's about, Laszlo's character and all the stuff that he has to go through with everyone kind of just like being a disappointment in his life. Like his cousin sucks. Like his rich benefactor, like, yeah, he's, giving him housing and paying him all this money to make this monument to his mommy issues, but like, they kind of treat him as like expendable and disposable. And it's like, you want to root for Adrian Brody's character, but he's not a perfect person. He cheats on his wife a lot. He's a smackhead, which that's not a moral failing necessarily. And it's like you want to root for him to like do well, but it's like everyone, from his cousin to his rich benefactor is just like routinely disappointing him in a number of ways, and it's like both of them let him know that, hey, you are at my mercy, and, I'm the one giving you a chance here, so basically you have to bend to my whims. And both of them are like sort of unstable. Like the rich benefactor guy has mommy issues and my battery is dying, and this time I am actually going to change it, so give me a second. Okay, like I was saying, the rich benefactor guy has mommy issues, and then like his cousin, who like first accepts him when he comes to America, is like kind of unstable, and then throughout it all there's like this undercurrent of like anti-Semitism, because again, this starts, kind of, I guess, post-war, and Laszlo Toth, which is Adrian Brody's character, is a Hungarian Jew, so he's come to America to escape all of that, and yet, there's just like the waspiness of it all, having to contend with that, and it's like, guy can't catch a break. He really can't. And, at the end, there's like a time jump to the 80s. And so, eventually he's like celebrated by his niece. Yeah, he's celebrated by like his niece, and there's like this whole thing for his like body of work over his life. But it's like, at what cost? Yeah. Yeah. It almost feels like he's being exploited along the way. It kind of sucks. Not the movie, just like that whole situation for him kind of sucks. And then the ending. Okay, so the ending is where I started to have like questions. Not the time jump, but so actually I don't know if I want to spoil it too terribly much. I think you should watch the movie. The ending had me with question marks. I remember, at this point the building is like mostly complete, and the whole thing about the building, which is like makes it so ambitious, is that not only is it entirely made out of concrete, but it's also like a chapel or a church or something like that. And there's this big like cross, but it's like the outline or the silhouette of a cross. And once the light like lines up over it, it makes a cross shine down into the like sanctuary area. And once I saw that, I was like, oh, they're about to roll credits on me, and I don't have any resolution. Like, come on. Like, I hate it when I'm watching a movie and I can tell they're about to roll credits, but I still have very many questions, And that happened here. However, they didn't really roll credits. It went to the epilogue, which was a time jump to the 80s. So yeah, that was a Brutalist. Since it is up for an Oscar and also a Golden Globe, if you didn't know this, catch it. It's crazy. If you didn't know this, once movies are up for major awards like Best Picture, or usually for like Best Screenplay or something like that, it's not just the ones that are nominated, it's also the ones that are submitted, for your consideration type thing. The scripts will get released online. So, if there is like, and this goes for movies that aren't nominated. It's just that usually it's the ones that are nominated that are released, more easily. They're easier to find. And so because, the Brutalist was up for many awards, the Golden Globes and the Oscars, the script is easily available. You can find it online through legal means. You don't have to, go on those sketchy, like, pay websites for scripts, which I listen, they might be legitimate. It seems sketchy to me. Anything that involves money, sketch. I just have to say it. But it's available freely and throughout, without unscrupulous means. And I started reading it before I sat down to do the pod. And I like reading scripts because, I feel like even though they aren't really meant to be read, which also that might be debatable because, most of us read Shakespeare in school. Those are plays, and they're meant to be performed, not really read, but we read them anyways. And I think screenplays should be treated like that as well, as works of literature and as things that are meant to be acted out. And, I don't know. I think screenplays should be approached like stage plays because I read a bunch of plays in high school. I read Fences, we read Macbeth, we read Romeo and Juliet. Those are the only ones that I can remember, but I feel like we did a little bit more than those. And I think screenplays should be approached as literature. I think this might be maybe a fairly new way of thinking, but that's my opinion. Okay. So I started reading the script, and it's really interesting, because sometimes scripts leak, and therefore they aren't like the final, shooting script version. Even with this, you can tell, and I'm like maybe 40 pages in, something like that. You can tell where some scenes are extended, or, the dialogue is changed up, or the actions are changed up, and I think that's really interesting to see that. I remember I read the script for Dune Part 1, and I can't remember if that had leaked or not. But I remember reading that, and there were a couple of scenes that weren't in the movie at all. Maybe they had been cut out, and there were a couple of scenes that were in the movie that weren't in this version of the script that I was reading. And I think that's just interesting to read. I also know you can find like the very, very early version of Don't Worry Darling, that I think was submitted to like the blacklist before they had like pretty much rewrote the entire thing. Which I haven't read that, but I think it'd be interesting to see. But there are a few other for your consideration scripts out there. There's the one for, because the only one that I was really interested in reading was, of the list that I had found, there was, what is the name? Blink Twice, the one with Channing Tatum. That's out. Co-written by Zoe Kravitz and another person that I cannot remember the name of. And then there's another script that I wanted to read, but I can't remember what it was. Anyways, the for your consideration scripts are out. You should consider reading them because they're pretty cool. But yeah, that was The Brutalist. I saw that at 7 o'clock yesterday. Spent 3.5 hours in the movie theater, and I left at around 11. And I thought I was going to regret it. I didn't really regret, leaving the theater that late. It was honestly not that bad, now that I think about it. Because the only other showtime was, like, at 1 o'clock. And at 1 o'clock yesterday, I was still doing my hair. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I'm glad I saw it at the time that I saw it. Because that was, like, the only other time that I could have seen it. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to get a normal format release here anyways, but if you're interested in seeing it and you're in the Jackson metro area, it's at Malco, it's in IMAX, and you'll have to pay $20, but honestly worth. And I kind of want to see it again, to be completely honest. I don't know if I would pay to see it again in the IMAX though. That's the only thing. It's a lot to see. But as far as other movies that are happening and coming out and are in theaters, I did want to see One of Them Days. But of course, I have few weekends, and I'm not watching movies after work. I'm not going to the movie theater after work. I'm not doing that anymore. I used to for like a hot minute, but anytime I would do that, I would be falling asleep in the movie theater, and I just don't want to do that. I'm paying to watch a movie. I don't want to fall asleep. Really, I don't. Because, number one, I feel like the movie is being wasted because I'm falling asleep, and also my money is being wasted. So, but aside from One of Them Days, there's not really anything out that I want to see, I mean, it's January, so we are kind of in the doldrums when it comes to, like, movies that are in theaters. Wicked is still in theaters, and, I don't know if I want to see that just, like, in the theater, though. That's the thing. Like, would I go to the theater to see Wicked? I don't know. Yeah. That's really it. And I know I was like, oh, I want to see more movies this year. And I feel like doing pretty well, maybe. I don't know how many movies I went to see in theaters last year. Something tells me it was less than 10. But also, maybe I don't want to limit myself to the theater. I have access to a few different streaming services. But, like, I don't know. I've kind of fallen out of love with streaming. Like, I was all about it. I love me some Netflix when I was in high school and, like, college as well. I saw a lot of great semi-unknown movies with Netflix, but now it's just, like, it's all proprietary. And it's like, I don't want to see what your underpaid writers have to show me. I just want to see things that were in theaters, And it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I really am falling out of love with streaming. It's too many streaming services. I already don't want to pay. I mean, I only pay for Netflix. I have HBO Max because my parents have cable. But, like, already that's like... And they're about to raise the price of Netflix again when they downgraded me to the ad plan. Crazy. I mean, I do technically have Hulu through Spotify, but, like, that's the ad plan as well, and it's like, there's not that much on Hulu that I want to see. I don't think I finished watching the last season of Atlanta, but also I just can't get in this series. I don't know if I can get in a series anymore. Like, I want to rewatch Scandal, but, like, who has the time? I was really into series when I didn't have to work, straight up. Like, when I was in high school and I first got Netflix, I was straight up just watching Netflix in class. Like, honestly, it's not a wonder that I graduated because I was studious enough. I got by. But I remember when I first had gotten my little pink iPhone and I had Netflix, and I would be sitting in gym class watching Breaking Bad. And I also remember a couple years after that, sitting in my Spanish class watching. Oh my goodness, what is the name of that series? I forgot. It's with Jason Momoa, and he's like a fur trader, and it's like a Canadian series. Oh my gosh, what is it called? It's not The Red Road. However, I did also watch The Red Road on Netflix. Not in school though. I watched that after school. Also really good. Canceled far too early, but it was on the Sundance Channel. And you just can't make someone care about something that's on the Sundance Channel, Because realistically, how many people have the Sundance Channel? Straight up, It could have gone on AMC. Honestly, The Red Road could have gone on AMC. But I'm trying to think, what is it? Frontier. It was literally called Frontier. That was on Netflix. I watched that when I was in my Spanish class. And there was this other class that I had to take that was kind of like a BS class, but I had to take it for some reason. It was in like the brick masonry classroom, and I would watch The Office. That was the first time that I watched The Office. That was my senior year. I watched a lot of great Netflix, just killing time in school, but now that I have a job that I have to work at where I have to actually do things during the day, I don't have the time. Big surprise. However, if I had an office, I could probably get away with watching a little bit of Netflix here and there. However, I don't feel like I could focus on that. Like, watch a series and like try to edit at the same time. That's gonna kill my focus. I can listen to music and edit at the same time, but watching a show, no, thank you. That's a bridge too far. I don't think I would be able to do that. I would get way behind. Like, no. And, I don't know. I just don't want to start a new series, And I don't really want to give up Netflix because, what if one day my brain gets rewired and maybe I do want to start watching series again, and I do want to rewatch, Trailer Park Boys or Scandal or Arrested Development or any number of those shows. Because, I was trying to do a rewatch of Mr. Robot, but considering it's only on, which I think it might be leaving Amazon Prime, which is crazy. Considering at the time it was only on Amazon Prime, and I wasn't about to pay for that. I had to go, the 1-2-3 movies route. But given that, these domains are, the feds are playing whack-a-mole with them, it's kind of hard to, keep my spot in the season when the domain goes down. I have to go to a different domain, and I can't really remember where I left off. So I was halfway through season 2 of Mr. Robot before the domain that I was watching it at was struck down, and that was kind of lame. So, and honestly, I would like to own it and watch it that way, but that would involve buying DVDs and also buying a DVD player, which what? No. I would like to own it, digitally somehow so I can watch it that way, because I do really like Mr. Robot, and I do want to do a full rewatch of it, but it's just hard unnecessarily for me to do that. The USA Network doesn't have any kind of streaming, it's not on, I don't know. Well, I guess that kind of goes down to the show. But anyways, I've fallen out of love with streaming, and I don't know if I will ever fall back in love with streaming. We might have to get a divorce. It might be coming down to that. So, it's been almost an hour and 45 minutes. And, would you look at that, it's 8 o'clock, and I got a long day tomorrow. So, this has been the Big 40th episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I have been your recovering host, Erin. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. Usually, at the end of these episodes, I would say, follow me on Twitter, because if you're not following me on Twitter, you're only getting half the story. But considering that Twitter is owned by a Nazi, which it's been owned by a Nazi since the Nazi bought it, but I don't know, it's getting real weird over on twitter.com. I don't know if I want to stay over there. And I do have a Blue Sky account, but I don't really use it all that much. So you can't follow me anywhere, I guess. I mean, I'm on Instagram at Jackson Underground, but I wouldn't say, you're only getting half the story there. Because anyways. Speaking of which, I was gonna talk about Drag Race, but there's not a lot to talk about because I haven't really been watching it. That's the truth, T. I haven't really been watching the season of Drag Race. I don't know why I can't get into it. But we'll explore that on a different day, on a different episode. So yeah, I have to go get some rest because I have some traveling to do, and I'm genuinely not looking forward to it, but we gotta do what we gotta do, to get that paycheck, to get them coins, so my coins can actually stack, so that when I do end up moving, I won't be broke Tina.